Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is UFC Investor. In this video, we're going to be going over my bets, predictions, and picks for Cannonier versus Robocop. I'm really excited about this fight night because it's on February 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, and there's fighters like Jared Cannonier, the Bonfim brothers, Robocop, Khaos Williams. So it should be a good set of exciting fights, guys. Let's get started with the first fight. Alright guys, so for the first fight of the night, we have Julia Avila versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti, a bantamweight fight. Honestly guys, I don't really think I need to show you guys or talk about this one much. I'm going to be going with Cavalcanti. She's a minus 500 at the moment. I'm going to be picking her by decision. Right now, everyone's pretty much picking her. I think she should be able to win. She's 3-0 in the UFC. Julia Avila is only 3-2 in the UFC. And the last time she fought was in 2023, December. So it's been a long time, and she lost to Miesha Tate. So honestly, don't expect much from her. She also is 36 years old. So I feel like it's explains as to why Jacqueline is a minus 500. A lot of people are looking at that and just kind of picking her. I also do think she's actually decent. I picked against her when she fought Nora Cornole, but obviously she won that one. So she's actually pretty impressive. Like I said, undefeated 3-0 in the UFC. So I'm pretty sure she's gonna win this one. If Avila wins, then honestly, I'd just be really surprised. Like, I mean, obviously I could see her getting a decision, but I'm pretty sure Cavalcanti should be better everywhere. So I don't think Cavalcanti is going to lose this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in the second fight of the night, we have Dontel Mays versus Valter Walker. If you guys didn't know, Valter Walker is Johnny Walker's brother. So he's fighting at heavyweight. He's going to be fighting Dontel Mays, who is, I believe, 4-5 in the UFC. He's 4-5 in the UFC. And he usually, well, his last two wins for Dontel Mays was decision versus Chao Machado, and then before that, two fights before that was a win versus Andrei Arlovsky in round 2. And other than that, he's been losing 3 decisions in between there. So I don't think Dontel Mays is going to win this one. I'm picking Valter Walker to win. I do think Valter could get a ground and pound KO, maybe just like a flat out KO. Right now, the odds have Valter at a minus 210. So I think a good amount of people do think Valter should win here. If Walker gets a submission, I won't be too surprised either. Dontel Mays doesn't really get subbed. Oh, actually, he does. Never mind. Dontel Mays can get subbed, and Valter Walker just subbed Tafa. So I wonder if he's gonna get another submission here. I am going to be picking him to get that probably ground and pound and maybe round 2. I was thinking round 3, but I'm going to pick round 2. But I'm thinking Valter Walker wins this one. The only thing that kind of worries me is that Valter Walker lost to Lucas Brzeski, who is 1-5 in the UFC. His only win was versus Valter Walker, and he won by decision. So I can also easily see Dontel Mays just getting a decision win if Walker can't take him down and get the ground and pound or a submission. Because I think on the feet, I honestly think Dontel Mays is going to be better. So I'm going to be picking Valter to win. But now that I'm thinking about it, I want to pick Mays maybe. But I'm going to keep the Walker pick and probably bet on Mays to win by decision or something, because I do think he can do it. But let me know what you guys think about this one. This one's a little like iffy, not just because it's Johnny Walker's brother, but I'm just not fully convinced on Valter Walker yet. But let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so in this next fight, we have Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. I honestly am really excited to see Smith fight again, because the last time he fought in Contender Series, he fought against Aaron Tao, who I picked. I thought he was going to win. Even though he was an underdog and Elijah was the favorite, Elijah really proved that he had like the dog in him, because Aaron Tao was like really bringing it on to him in rounds like 2 and 3 towards the end. And I do think Elijah was like, not to say considering like maybe breaking, but he was like pushed to the limit. And he's only 22 years old, so I think he's actually pretty decent. I'm going to be picking him by decision to win against Vince Morales. Right now, the odds have him at minus 225. So I do think other people are liking the way he's looking in terms of like striking, just mixing it up in total. Vince Morales, he's 3-6 in the UFC. And he just recently lost to Taylor Lapilus, so I just don't blame him. Taylor Lapilus is actually really good. And before that, he won five fights in a row, most of them by finishes, 5 out of 6 of them, after he got cut from the UFC in 2022. So I'm a little worried that Vince Morales is like what's the word, skill, or just like the veteranness is gonna be able to beat Elijah, because Vince is 34 years old, so he's not too old. He's still capable of getting better, and Elijah's only 22, so it makes me think like maybe Elijah is just not ready for this level of UFC fighter. But I just like the way he looked against Aaron, and I do think he's capable of winning, even though he is really young. So I'm gonna be picking him by decision. He is a slight or a decent favorite, so I do think he should be able to get the win. And I'd be a little surprised if Vince just kind of blows him out of the water. If Vince does win, I think Vince will get a decision win, and it'll be like a split. But we'll see. I like the Elijah Smith pick pretty decently. Not too confident, but I do like the pick. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Gabriel Bonfim versus Khaos Williams. This is one of the Bonfim brothers. The other one is fighting later on in the night. Gabriel Bonfim is actually pretty decent. He has some decent wins in the UFC, but he's going to be fighting Khaos Williams, who also has some finishes in the UFC by knockout. A lot of decent ones by knockout. Honestly, guys, I was picking Khaos Williams at first, but I switched over to Bonfim. I watched some tape, which I usually don't do, honestly. I think I'm going to start doing that more often because my picks have not been doing that good. As you guys can see, I'm back to still silver, drops in rankings. But I do think Bonfim is going to win here because when I was watching the tape, Khaos Williams is very, chaotic in terms of his striking. He's really explosive. And I think Gabriel is just going to play the careful game and kind of pick his shots and just kind of like try to lure Khaos into just, swinging and missing. And I do think Gabriel Bonfim is going to be able to point it out versus Khaos Williams and get the decision win. I'm not too confident. Obviously, he is the favorite. Gabriel is the favorite at a -210. Khaos Williams is a +180. So the odds are for sure in the favor of Bonfim, but I don't know. I'm just not fully convinced. Like, I do think Khaos has a good chance. If he catches Bonfim, I think he can knock him out. So I think if Khaos were to win, I think it would be rounds, I think a knockout anywhere, honestly. I feel like Khaos might make the mistake of just trying to find that one punch. It might be a mistake if he doesn't ever get it, but it might be, worth it if he knocks out Bonfim. If not, maybe like a TKO or something. Or maybe a Khaos Williams has like just the bigger moments in general. Not too sure, but I'll be picking Bonfim on this one. I think it's gonna be like one of those other ones where I usually say that I'll pick Bonfim and then bet on Khaos. So I probably will. I'll probably bet on Khaos to win by knockout in some of the rounds. If not, like probably put 50 cents in each all three rounds. So I do think Khaos has a good chance to win, but I'm gonna be siding with the favorite here. I think Gabriel Bonfim is just gonna pick his shots, point it out, and get to a decision win. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so in this next fight, we have Rafael Estevam versus Jesus Aguilar. And this one, guys, I'm just a little surprised about the odds because Rafael is a -360 and Jesus Aguilar is a +295. And I think I might be saying this because when I look at Jesus's record, he's 3-1 in the UFC. And yeah, one of those fights is versus Shannon Ross, who loses to everybody. But I don't know. It's just kind of surprising that his only loss is to Tatsuro Taira, round one triangle armbar. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird to see someone that's 3-1 in the UFC versus that's 1-0 in the UFC via as such a underdog. But I think it's because when you see Estevam fighting, you can kind of see how much he mixes in the grappling and the striking. So I think a lot of people are assuming that Rafael is going to just control Jesus and take him to the ground and not get submitted, because Jesus does have a lot of submission wins. Most of his wins come by submission. So I think a lot of people are trusting that Rafael is not going to get submitted and uses his submission defense to not lose that way. And I think he might even actually get a submission himself. Who knows? So I do think Rafael is going to be the winner here. I'm going to be picking him by decision. I think Estevam is just going to probably pick his moments. Maybe not try to go too far on the ground. Or maybe just try to control for the most part. I do think Estevam is probably going to win. But like I said, I kind of wanted to pick Jesus because, it's kind of the MMA math side of me thinking that the 3-1 guy should win versus the 1-0 guy in the UFC. So who knows? I think Jesus, if he were to win, he can get a submission himself. If not, maybe a KO. But Estevam has never lost. He's undefeated. So that adds on to a reason as to why Jesus probably won't win. So who knows? Not too confident, honestly, even though he's such a big favorite on this pick. But I do think he's going to win. If Jesus does win, like I said, I think submission or just inside of the distance or something. But we'll see, I guess. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so in this next fight, we have Ketlen Souza versus Angela Hill. This one's going to be a strawweight bout between a veteran and a pretty new fighter, I would say. If you guys remember, Souza submitted Jasmine Jauregui in Noche UFC. It was a big upset for her to win. So I think it's kind of showing that she's capable of finishes, even though before that she got a decision win over Marnik Mann and then lost to Karine Silva by knee bar, but got 2 decision wins before that. So I do think she's capable of getting finishes, even though most of her wins come by decision and even TKO earlier outside of the UFC. So I think Ketlen is possibly or capable of getting a finish over Hill, even though Hill herself doesn't get finished often. She's 12-14 in the UFC, so obviously she's a vet. And I do have to mention she's like 40 years old, so I don't think she's gonna be able to beat Souza, who's only, I believe, 32 years old. No, she's 29. So I think Ketlen Souza's gonna have like the youth on her side versus Angela Hill, who usually wins by decision and also loses by decision. Angela Hill has never been knocked out, and she's only been subbed twice in the first round, it looks like. So I do think Angela Hill could win. The odds right now have them pretty even, honestly, at Hill being a -115 and Souza being a -105. So I do think Souza's going to win by decision because I think she's just going to have the bigger moments, maybe get closer to getting a finish versus Hill, who I think is very, for sure, well-rounded. But I think the age is going to play a factor here. And especially after seeing Souza get a finish like that on Jauregui, I kind of think she's probably the newer generation of fighters that's going to be coming up. Because I was really on the fence with this one. I was actually picking Hill before. So now I'm switching over to Souza. So hopefully I don't regret that one. That's already 2 or 3 picks that I switched or thought hard about. So I do think Souza wins by decision. Not too confident, though. I think it's really a flip of a coin. You never know. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Conor Matthews versus Jose Delgado. This one, guys, I'm actually really excited to see because I really do think Jose Delgado could be a pretty good fighter. If you look at his record, he has 5 finishes in a row, it looks like. Yeah, 5 finishes in a row, starting from Cage Warriors. He got another finish in Tough Enough, United Fight League, LFA, Contender Series, and now into the UFC. It's pretty impressive, I would think. You know, he has a bunch of pretty much finishes in round 1, 2, and 3 everywhere, and it looks like it's knockouts, submissions. So it's really exciting to see a fighter that's just getting that many finishes in a row. And he's going to be fighting a guy named Conor Matthews, who already has fought in the UFC versus Dennis Bazukja. Dennis is from Ray Longo's team or Aljo's team. And not to say Dennis is bad, but Dennis isn't that good. And if Dennis can finish you in round 3, I don't know. It just kind of, it doesn't excite me in terms of Conor's potential. So I do think Conor's probably going to get finished in this one because I think Delgado's going to knock him out either early in round 1 or maybe 2 or maybe round 3. But I'm really kind of thinking Delgado's someone to worry about in that division. I do think Delgado has the capability of finishing Conor. Even though Conor just lost in round 3 recently, I think Jose could do it in round 1. The odds right now have Jose Delgado at -275, so it looks like a lot of people are thinking that Jose's probably going to win. Conor's a +235, so I do agree with the odds on this one. I'm a little, I think they're going down, or Jose is becoming more of a favorite, so I think a lot of people are realizing that Jose is probably pretty dangerous. And fighting a guy that's already lost in the UFC, 0-1 in the UFC, I do think Jose is going to be able to get a finish here. If not, at least a decision win. Hopefully he does win. I'm actually really confident about this pick. I really like him winning, and the odds seem to reflect it. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so in this next fight, we have Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski. This one, guys, I'm a little unsure about. I am picking Rodolfo to win by submission round 2, but I don't know. I say that even after knowing that Petroski has never been submitted. He's never been submitted or lost by decision. Petroski's only lost by KO. So it makes you think, like, is Vieira capable of knocking out Petroski, even though Vieira only has one knockout win in the first round in his whole career? So I don't know. It's just kind of like, if you look at the MMA math of it, again with the MMA math, I don't know. It just kind of worries me about picking Vieira, because I honestly think Petroski has a decent chance. And that's also knowing that Petroski took this fight on short notice. If you guys didn't know, Vieira was supposed to fight Jacob Malkoun, which is a guy that trains with Robert Whitaker. Jacob Malkoun is actually a pretty decent fighter, and I think he beat Petroski before, and Petroski feels like an accidental like head or knee butt or something like that, but Malkoun is actually pretty decent. So I do think Vieira is obviously at a full camp, and I think he should be able to beat Petroski, who took this fight on short notice. So, and I also got to mention that Petroski I could have swore he got subbed by Brian Battle. Oh yeah, no. So Petroski has been submitted before, just outside of the UFC. In the Ultimate Fighter, he got submitted by Brian Battle. So I think that's another reason. I think that's the only submission he's ever had. So if Brian Battle could submit him, I think Vieira can too. Vieira has a lot of wins by submission. It looks like 90% of his wins come from submission. So I do think Vieira can get the submission, but not fully convinced. I do like the pick though, because it does make sense, and Andre Petroski is taking the fight on short notice, so that's like another big reason. But let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Nazim Sadykhov versus Ismael Bonfim, the other Bonfim brother. This one, guys, I was also on the fence on this one. At first, I was just kind of siding with Bonfim because, he's one of the Bonfim brothers. He's pretty decent. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He got that win over Terrence McKinney where he kneed him in round 2 and just knocked him out. It was a crazy highlight. And also he beat a guy named Vince Pichel. But he did get submitted by Benoit Saint-Denis. So, I don't know. I'm not fully convinced on Ismael yet. I do think that Nazim could get the win here. I'm going to be picking him by round 2 TKO. If you look at Nazim's fights, he's just really good on the feet. His striking is actually really crisp, it looks like. It looks like he really mixes it up well, and it looks like he has a decent takedown defense too. So I do think Nazim can get the win by TKO. I do. He is an underdog at the moment at a plus 155. So I am picking the underdog here. But I don't know. I kind of like the pick. I kind of think it's more of a pick 'em. So I kind of disagree with the odds a little bit. Even though I do think a lot of people are picking Bonfim just because of the Bonfim name. I think because I don't know. Like I said, I'm not fully convinced on Ismael yet. I do think he's capable of losing, and I do think Nazim is going to be that guy that does it. Nazim is from Ray Longo's team, which is Aljo, him and his crew. So I do think Sadykhov has, takedown defense, stay on the feet, keep it striking. And I think he's going to be able to knock out Ismael on this one. Not too crazy confident on this one. It's an underdog pick, but I like the pick. Probably for sure going to be betting on Nazim to win. In terms of probably decision at least, maybe a KO. Ismael, I don't think I'm gonna bet him or put him in parlays. I think or Nazim either, because it's a risky bet, an underdog. So I do think Nazim should win here. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Edmen Shahbazyan versus Dylan Budka. This one, guys, I think it's a pretty straightforward pick. I think a lot of people just agree that Edmen probably should win here. He is a minus 360 versus Budka, who's a plus 295. And I think a lot of people are picking Shahbazyan to win because Budka has already fought twice in the UFC, and he's already lost twice to Andre Petroski and to Cesar Almeida. And, Petroski's all right, and Cesar Almeida, he's also all right. So, I don't know. I don't think Budka he hasn't showed much to be able to win against certain fighters, especially against Edmen, who has UFC experience. He's 6-5 in the UFC, and most of his losses come by knockout. So his wins come by knockout too. So I think on the feet, Edmen is going to be dangerous, and Budka, he's a wrestler. So I'm assuming that Edmen probably should be the better striker here. I would think so too. And Budka's just going to try to take him to the ground. So I think Edmen probably knows that. He's probably going to practice his takedown defense and just keep it on the feet. At least either win by KO, I would hope, in round 2. If not, get a decision win. But, you can just never trust Edmen. He's 6-5. He's 50-50. He could lose this one and, be a 6-6. His last fight was versus GM3, Gerald Meerschaert. He ended up getting choked out. And then he has fought some decent wins and some decent people actually. So I think that's also helping odds or people thinking he should win, because he's only lost to some pretty big names like Gerald Meerschaert, Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, Imavov, Jack Hermanson, Derek Brunson. So I don't blame him for some of these wins or some of these losses. And his last 2 wins out of the last seven fights were against, I don't want to say nobodies, but he beat a guy named AJ Dobson in 2024 March, knocked him out in first round, and then a guy named Dalcha Langlambula, don't even know who that is. He flying knee punched him in round 2. So I do think Edmen is probably going to win here. Hopefully he gets a knockout in round 2, maybe round 1, who knows, maybe round 3. Not too confident, honestly, even though the odds kind of are confident for him to win. But still, I'll pick him for sure. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for the second to last fight for this Saturday night on the 15th of February, we have Calvin Kattar versus Youssef Zalal. If you guys didn't know, Zalal has been on a big come up. He has 3 wins in the UFC straight in a row. Round 2, round 1, round 2. And the last 2 fights, he got performance of the night, it looks like. Yeah, performance of the night and performance of the night versus Jack Shore and Jarno Aarons. So it's pretty impressive for him to get 5 finishes in a row, and then one of those being in or 2 of those being in outside of the UFC. But still, it's pretty impressive to see him get that many finishes. But he's gonna be fighting Calvin Kattar, who doesn't get finished often. Calvin has only been finished, only knocked out once and only submitted once, and mostly he loses by decision. So guys, honestly, I was picking Zalal, but I switched over to Kattar, guys. I don't know. I'm just not fully convinced yet. I just have a feeling that Kattar is going to be able to beat him by decision and just survive and not get finished. But I also don't think Kattar is going to finish Zalal either. I actually think it might be like a split decision win for Kattar, if not maybe just a unanimous. I don't know. I think Kattar should be able to survive and just pick his shots versus Zalal and just use his striking to beat Zalal, because Zalal has never been knocked out or submitted. So I do think if Zalal loses, it'll probably be by decision, which is mostly how Kattar wins too. Or actually, no, half of the time Kattar usually wins by decision. The other times he usually wins by a KO or something. So his last win was versus Giga Chikidze in 2022, which is a little long ago, 3 years now. So it's kind of a crazy pick, I think. But I don't know. I just got a feeling, he's been fighting big names. Aljo, he fought in April, who was the champ, who's still really good. He fought Arnold Allen, who's also really good. And he got a knee injury in that one. So I'm hoping if his knee's okay, then he should be able to fight. He's only, 30? Oh, he's 36 years old versus Zalal, who is 28 years old. So youth is on the side of Zalal. But I don't know. I kind of want to risk it. I'm going to hope that he still has some experience in him and wins this versus Zalal, who got cut from the UFC, and now he's back after so many wins outside of the UFC and now 3 wins inside. So I do think it's a crazy bet because right now, or a crazy pick, because right now Zalal is a minus 390 and Kattar is a plus 325. So I don't know. I kind of like the Kattar pick. I think he's going to be able to have the experience to beat Zalal and not get finished and beat him by decision. Let me know what you guys think about this one, because honestly, I was a little unsure about doing this, even though I probably should just pick Zalal and just bet Kattar, and then I'll be happy like that. But who knows? I kind of want to risk it on this one and risk my Tapology pretty much. So let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys. So for the last fight of the night, we have Jared Cannonier versus RoboCop, also known as Gregory Rodrigues. This one's gonna be a really exciting fight, guys, because we have Cannonier on one side and RoboCop on the other, who are both really good strikers, I would say. If the Cannonier that fought Vettori shows up to fight RoboCop this Saturday, it's going to be insane, because RoboCop is also a really good striker too, and I think they're both capable of getting finished and also finishing each other. So I think it should be a really good main event. I don't think it's going to go the distance, honestly. I'd be kind of surprised because I think both of them just have enough power to just either kind of risk it to get the finish, or maybe risk it to get finished, or to risk it and maybe get finished. So I don't know. I kind of like the Rodrigues pick on this one. I think he's going to knock out Cannonier. Cannonier's 40 years old, guys. This is a two 40-year-olds on the card, Hill and Cannonier. So I hate to pick old guys, and I think Cannonier is probably on his way out. His last two fights were versus Chao Baralo and Imavov, who are obviously really good fighters, but I don't know. I think him getting finished by Imavov in round 4, even though Imavov finished Izzy in round 2, I don't know. I just think Jared's chin isn't as there as it used to be, and I think he's capable of getting hurt now, especially especially against a big puncher like Rodrigues. So I do think Jared probably loses here. He's 4 years old, like I said. He's 10-8 in the UFC. That's a lot of losses, I think, versus RoboCop, who's 7-2 in the UFC. He has 3 straight wins in a row. And in the last fight versus Christian Leroy Duncan, I actually picked Duncan to win. I think Duncan fought in his home country versus RoboCop, and RoboCop still beat him. I'm not too sure, but I think RoboCop took that fight on short notice. Not too sure, honestly. But I think maybe never mind. But I do think RoboCop should be able to beat Cannonier on this one. Like I said, I think age is a big factor. Right now the odds have Rodrigues at a -210 and Cannonier's a +180. I do think Jared, if he were to win, I think it would be by decision, if not maybe like a TKO himself. I don't think there's going to be submissions in this one. I don't think either one of them is going to want to take it to the ground. I think they're going to want to be striking and win by points. Neither one of them has a lot of wins by submissions, even though both of them have submission wins. I don't think it's going to be their preference. I think both of them are going to be looking for a finish, which makes it for another exciting fight. For some reason, I was thinking it could go to decision, but the more and more I think about it, I think there's going to be a finish because both of them are just really good, have a lot of power. And yeah, Jared's 40 years old, RoboCop's 32. I think there's a lot of chances for them to finish each other, and it should be a good fight. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let me know what you guys think about the whole video. I'm honestly a little worried because this past weekend I didn't do too good at DDP versus Sean. I got I think it was 5 out of 12 picks right. I was so upset, but I didn't lose all my money this time. I actually bet a lot. If you guys remember the last video, I'm gonna play the clip here. I put some money on DDP and Tatiana to win, so hopefully that bet goes through. Man, I really underestimated Wei Li and I overestimated Tatiana. For sure got most of my money back, thank God, because of DDP, but I for sure lost I would say half of it, I think, because of Tatiana. If Tatiana won, I would have been up not crazy amount, but I would have been up. But yeah, guys, can't complain too much. I'm still silver at place 2,500 in total. So for sure that's the goal, just to go up in the rankings and tap again. I want to get back to diamond, even though it's been a while. So I'm super excited about these fights because I do think some of my picks are gonna hit. I don't know, I got a different feeling about this one. I think I might actually watch more tape too and see if that helps. I might change picks because I have been recently. I've been making the videos and then still changing some picks. I think in the last one I didn't change any, but I think I should have because didn't do too good. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think about the whole video. Drop a comment below about what you're picking, about what you're betting. Let me know what you just think overall. Oh, and I forgot to mention, please subscribe, guys. Just click down below on the subscribe button. And also, happy Valentine's Day. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Take care of your underwears. I'm gonna you, man. What? What?